Recording in progress. That's what I like to hear. Okay, I'll hand it off to Ray.
Thank you. Okay, so start off with some general updates. Merch has arrived. If you did order anything, please come up to me after the meeting and I can check you off on it. Also for leads and sub leads, even if you didn't order anything, please come up to me again. There's something special for you guys that I've been working on for a while to get you guys something nice. So yeah. Also, Dead Week is approaching next week, so like Jordan said last quarter, no one's going to stop you from doing work. It'd be much appreciated, but you don't have to. And also, good luck on finals. Some club updates. The test readiness review is coming up. That's pretty much a lead kind of thing, and Jordan. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. So for Relop 2, we've been exploring different launch provider options, specifically Blue Origin. So they got back to us and they have approved of becoming the future launch provider. Oh, hello. Hello. Okay, so Blue Origin has approved of us becoming the next launch provider for us, but they will not give us funding. But for Blue, yeah. So they'll provide the actual like launch, but they won't provide us any funding in creating the next CubeSat. But they're less restrictive on what we can do with our satellite. So potentially we can look into like propulsion-based missions and yeah, so we're gonna look more into that, and we might we are gonna bring back the Relop 2 R&D team this summer to do some meetings and hopefully like reach a decision on what the second Relop mission is gonna be. Yeah. Oh, the things
Was that batteries?
Yeah. As for club officers, nothing really changed. So I'm gonna hand it to Jordan now to give some Relop updates.
Let's just put that down. I don't think we can use that. Sure. Okay, so for our Relop updates, we have a bundle of information to share. So for this quarter, we have it where, thanks to the efforts of Eric and the manufacturing team, we have manufacturing nearing its final stages. Give a round of applause. So there are a few minor items that need to be still finished manufacturing, but Eric will discuss that in his portion. But overall, it is extremely good progress. We have pretty much all of the subsystems in extremely late testing stage and assembly phase. I know many of the teams have been able to put together their assemblies that will be going into the final flight models. So that is very excellent. We have also been working on not necessarily getting new facilities, but co-opting our current facilities to be more suitable for stuff like integration. So we have plans to kind of turn the corner. If you've been in Kemper 51, you'll know that is an extremely dirty room, courtesy of our neighbors. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think CS is the most unhappy about it. Oh, yeah. But we plan to be using a small part of that room as our quote unquote clean room. So we will be updating you folks on that. Hopefully all works out well in that end. And for any auxiliary testing, we'll get any sort of facilities as needed. And for documentation, we are trying our best. I have had several applications kicked back for FCC documentation, but those should hopefully be working out. I just sent another draft out for several processes that we have to do. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, so for the timeline, I'm going to be very honest. We have made a lot of progress over this quarter, but the timeline is somewhat in flux, I feel, from my estimations. We have made a lot of progress. We have pretty much all the parts manufactured, and a lot of assembly can begin. But it's complicated by the fact that we have finished this at a time where most people will not be in Vegas, because summer is just around the corner. So summer 2022, what we hope to accomplish may not necessarily be what we accomplish, but the current plan at the very least is to hopefully get the vibe test done, conduct the flight readiness review, and finalize all systems for a handover in roughly early to late fall quarter. So this timeline is not set in stone. I predict there will be changes as the months roll by, but that is something that we'll have to play by ear. So yeah, we will move on now to the graduating seniors, which none are here right now. I think I mentioned this in the first general meeting of the quarter, but all these members will be graduating. So very appreciative of all the work they have put into the project. So with that being said, particularly with the graduation of Shao, our structures co-lead, our mechanical design sub-lead, Matt Mahan, has been promoted to structures co-lead. Big congrats, and electrical has been a bit stripped down, unfortunately. So if you are interested in joining that team, no, not as a sub-lead, just as a member. But no, if you are interested in joining, just let us know. And we could always use more members for that on the team. So with that being said, we'll move on to the subsystem updates. So let's start off with ADCS. Yeah. Make room. But does the speaker work or? Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, you don't need it.
Question about. Cool. All right. Hi, everybody. So ADCS has accomplished quite a bit this quarter. Some of the highlights are the flat sat construction. So that finally finished. So we are almost ready to do flat sat testing. Everything's been assembled. So now it's just getting all of our flight hardware on there and actually starting to do testing. Finalizing a lot of code. As you know, code, as the CS team knows, code is. We're not coding right now. Oh. All right, well, we'll be coding. A lot of component manufacturing, you know, the air core, thanks to structures. I know that was very difficult, so thank you for that. Yes, and calibration and testing, as per usual. So yes, the beautiful air core has finally been manufactured. And this video doesn't work, but it was us winding it. So we are currently in the process of winding that and also winding the torque rod so that we can do integrated testing. You can see the rig there. We've got the code to work so far. So right now it's just a matter of winding that air core so we can actually do some BDOT testing. Yes. So yeah, a lot of calibration, a lot of doing BDOT testing along in correlation with software. And things like that. So that's for coils. Yes.
That's a black underside. White. Is that the metal one? Inside the right.
This one? Oh wait, here?
Yes.
Oh no, this is different. That's different. Do you want to speak for some sensors, or do you want me to talk? You whatever you want. Thank you, Vince. Yeah, so for manufactured reaction wheels, we're currently improving the design of the fishing rig. So you can see this little piece here that the fishing rig is on. We're kind of changing that piece because it's currently 3D printed, changing that to acrylic because it's a little easier to use, and continuing to work with the debugging the MRW code because, you know, code is Code is code. And we're looking into vibration testing and refitting of the wheel. We met with a vibrations professor to kind of talk about some of those logistics. So we're going to be designing a test for that so that we can hopefully reduce the vibrations of the reaction wheel so that it does not break apart in flight. That's just a picture, or that's the video of the rig working. It takes a little time for it to hit up, but you see it's slowing down, so it did its job. Yeah, and on the software side, Triad and target calculation are complete. So just a brief overview, Triad is the software that ADCS uses so that the CubeSat can figure out where exactly it is positioned during orbit. Don't worry about what that graph means. I can spend quite a long time explaining it. But besides that, we're still debugging a lot of the individual ADCS functions and test inputs. So for Triad and target calculations, those have been complete, but the other ones still need a little bit of work. We are collaborating with the CS team to implement different modes and build the overall skeleton. So we've been in contact with the CS team and in implementing our backup mode, the rotisserie mode, because yes, exactly. So what happens is if for some reason we can't get some important data or some data from either the sun sensors or we can't get an uplink, so we don't know where we are in orbit, what the CubeSat is going to do is it's going to put itself in this position and slowly rotate its camera in an attempt to take a picture of the sun or get a nice roast from the sun as well. So that's what we'll be doing. So implementing that. For the testing things, you can see over there, that is one of our laser cut MRW shelves. Although you can't see his face, but that is Lee that we attached on there, giving us his thumbs up that I'm sure you've all seen on the Discord. Yeah, and a lot of the 3D printed mounts, which you see in the middle picture, we didn't include a picture of the mount itself actually, but all those are printed. So again, it's just a matter of getting the PCBs from electrical and CS team and collaborating on that test. For the testing team. So yeah, ADCS has done a lot of things this quarter, you know, building the flat sat, sun sensors, writing some code, getting the MRW to work, and you know, getting the coils rig to go. So from Zwi himself, keep up the great work, and hopefully we'll all see you in fall quarter. Yeah. So yeah. Yes.
Try to keep it simple. So first thing we worked on was our main loop. This was causing us a few issues when it came with concurrency. So we kind of made it so that we can predict more easily what the operating system is going to do while we're running all of our Python scripts. So it should be easier for us and during the testing phase, during the TRR. It's further streamlined, it should be easier to read through. We do have some weird constructs going on, but it should be pretty straightforward once we start testing. IMU, we worked on the IMU for about 3 weeks until we found out from ADCS that they've already worked on it. So that definitely was an oversight on CS for not asking first and then doing stuff. So we understand a little bit about the IMU, so if there are any issues, we could probably poke around, but to the extent of it, we're just kind of leaving it alone. We kind of scrap those ideas. Watchdog Timer. Yeah, exactly. We spent 2 weeks on it so far, and we've made very little progress. You can see Kevin there bravely dealing with all those cables to the left and also to the right. And you can see in the middle that that wire looks a little messed up. It's because we managed to burn that wire pretty severely. Ridiculous. There's a amount of smoke coming out, and I was like, okay, that's not right. Anyways, most of the main code is done. So for testing, we're not worried about that. But this Watchdog Timer is more of like a reliability thing for us. If the operating system just goes nuts or something doesn't work, we'll use this Watchdog Timer. We're making some progress. We'll see what happens, but we're just hoping this thing goes away because it's so annoying. Yeah. Alrighty. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Brandon and the other electrical subleads were not able to come today. So I'll be taking over for them. So highlights for the electrical team. I'd say probably the biggest one is that several boards have been constructed, the PCB boards. We also have battery testing, which is almost done. And we have, I'm most excited about is our ground station has been built. So that's very exciting. So to get on with it. So for electrical ADCS, they have completed the science board PCBs. Those are the PCBs that contain the Raspberry Pi camera and our IR camera, which have been mounted onto it. Hopefully the coils board will be assembled soon. So that is very good. Hopefully the progress will be swimming for that one. For comms, this is probably one of the biggest ones. We were able to construct both the downlink and the uplink antennas, as well as the crossboom that we will be able to mount both of the antennas on. And additionally, we also formalized sort of the relationship we have with AMSAT. Beforehand, it was more of kind of a lack of clearly defined expectations from both sides about what our relationship entailed, because there was a lot of leadership turnover and not everyone was on the same page about how we are going to be working with them. Because for those of you who do not know, RealOp has a piece of software, the AMSAT transponder. It's called the AMSAT LTM, Linear Transponder Module. It is a piece of their technology designed for small sats like our own. And we are using it on our satellite, except we told them we were using it. They sent us it. We made a little changes. And that was about 2 years ago. And we didn't really tell them anything after that point. So we kind of hashed out those working details to make sure everyone's on the same page. So that is very good. It's very good to have those boundary conditions set. And for a picture, this is our antennas. As you can see, we have the uplink on the left and we have the downlink on the right. And we have the crossboom right up there mounted on the tripod. Fun fact, this entire thing was made out of foam board and random electrical components we had to order online. It honestly felt more like a third grade arts and craft project. Yeah, it was really entertaining because the instructions are so specific. I think for the crossboom in particular, we skipped about 80% of the steps because he just spent 80 steps explaining how to cut holes to mount PVC pipes in it. So we've done some preliminary testing. It is working, kind of. So we'll probably be doing more testing throughout the summer into the fall. So that is great. And power, we are going to be finishing battery testing soon. Only major test that is required is the vibe test with the vibration table. So that will be arranged in the coming weeks so we can get that taken care of. So that is electrical. We will be moving on now to structures.
All right, Ohio, y'all. So structures had a very chaotic quarter this quarter. We lost our very prestigious Nutman Chow, as he pursues his dreams. But we have Matt on board, and we have Eric and all the other sub leads, so we're able to push through this quarter. Something I want to also mention is that Eric here is basically the sole driver of manufacturing. So can we get a round of applause? And to the FAR project, you guys did really great work in pushing that out in the timeline that you guys had. It came out faster than we all wanted. All right, I'm gonna get it over to the first part. Manufacturing. 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 What does it mean? It means you're making stuff out of other stuff. And this time we were making a CubeSat out of a bunch of aluminum. And if you guys were here last time, I didn't have a lot of confidence in my abilities or any of the abilities we had to finish this project. But I am glad to tell you that those doubts were unwarranted, and we have actually done a great job. And that's amazing. And I'm so happy to present you with a box of white packages. Woo! In all seriousness, this right here, it's technically, it's not everything, but everything is done. Everything is in here. If you guys want it, you can have it. That's a joke. No, you can't have it. The white faces. The white faces are still okay. So okay, let's go. Everything's done. Everything's done on the mill. That's the big one. Yeah, the white faces aren't on there for reasons. But we still need to tap them. If you guys don't know what's happening, is making threads for all the screws. It mostly just takes time and effort. And sad. It's not a joke. It's just like, a few hours of sitting there, rotating and putting it on. Anyway, so I don't really have anything else to say other than that. If you guys had any questions or parts to be requisitioned, they're here. Especially if you guys want to test fit something, I can look in this box and see if we can try not scratching it and try it out. But yeah, I don't have anything. Yay, manufacturing! Oh, yeah. So assembly. So there's a lot of participation from assembly in the beginning of the quarter. And eventually dropped off as things usually do, and everyone does get busy. I would say Brian has kept me good company this whole quarter. And an occasional company that's dropped by Rowan or everybody else that's in Vayner. But we were able to reassemble our CubeSat again. And we did notice a lot of errors on our initial assembly procedures, specifically the order of which the solar panels did come onto the CubeSat, and the difficulties of reaching certain areas where nuts needed to be, and eventually learning that some things had to be threaded for the final assembly, hence the Y faces. But nonetheless, there is a familiarity with the assembly procedure, and you can see our beautiful middle picture there of the beautiful the post 3D printing processing of sticking a soldering iron into all of our printed components. But what we'll be moving on to is taking Eric's beautiful little box here. We're gonna go and do some measurements and make sure that everything does fit, hopefully, to Dynarax's procedure, like 0.1 millimeter plus or minus tolerance. So we're crossing our fingers with that. But after that, we're going to move on to anodizing all of our components, and then do a dry fit with all those anodized components, so Eric doesn't get sad with all the scratch pieces. And then we'll hopefully be able to set up our clean room in Kemper with our giant trash bag area with our air purifier. If anyone has any suggestions on how to do our clean room procedure setup, please let me know. But buy a vacuum. They have like 3 vacuums though. And they never vacuum the room. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, but after that, that's our plans for summer and going through fall and actually doing our full assembly. So you know what, we're almost there. We're almost at the final stretch. Just a few more things to go.
I think structures is looking really.
Structures is looking better. We thought we were done in fall, And then lo and behold, everything came up and we're like, oh, no, we're not. But on to our. Yeah.
All right, so basically, as of an hour ago, the FAR project has been officially completed, which is very exciting. For those of you who are like keeping track of the progress, basically coming into the quarter, we had a CAD model and not much else. And basically, until like 3 weeks ago, that's kind of where we're at. And then in the last 3 weeks, we've ordered the material, manufactured everything, assembled everything, tested the code, and written instructions for RPL. So there's been lots of active meetings in this sub team. So it's really exciting. We're planning on sending it off soon to RPL because their competition, the FAR rock competition, is coming up. But yeah, we're really excited that we got our officially first relot mission. Relot 0 is now complete. So that's all from Mech Design. Yeah. And then I can go over mech analysis as well. Justin's not able to be here today. But essentially, what we did this quarter is similar to last quarter. So last quarter, we were doing vibe tests on the relot parts, but in this quarter, it was the same for the FAR project, and just learning how to do modal analysis on new types of parts, as well as we also kept up with the documentation, especially since our launch provider is going to be new. We're looking at the new frequencies that are required for that. And that's all from mech analysis. And then I can do thermal as well. Angel's not able to be here either. But for thermal analysis, they were able to conduct a simulation of a hot case and thermal desktop. So basically this means the time in which the satellite is in view of the sun, the temperatures in which the components reach. And so the good news was this was all within NanoRapid's standards of what needs to happen. So that was a success. Yay. And they're coming up on working on the cold case simulation, which is the opposite when it's not in view of the sun. And so they're working on getting that done. And then they're still continuing on making the procedures for the thermal bakeouts for the assembly. And I believe that's all from thermal analysis. Yeah, awesome. And I think that's all from structures, actually.
Well, there's one thing.
Oh,
When we anodize our pieces, they have to be anodized a certain color.
They don't have to, but they
Well,
can.
they can.
They can be.
So do we get a say?
Do we get
What
a
color?
vote?
Yeah.
Do we get a vote on what color it is? Yes. Hot pink?
Isn't the PCBs like purple for like the solar panels? Yeah.
Oh, that looks pretty cool.
Pink and purple.
I think black.
Oh, but
Can we do like each?
Wait, now
one
black.
different color?
Then rotate 3 colors.
Oh, we should think about the thermal properties of satellites. Oh my god.
I think we should put it to a vote.
Make a poll later.
Make a poll.
All right, but yeah, that is it.
If you guys want to look at the parts, I can open some of them. It's really exciting to see all the parts actually in person. Great.
Okay. All right. Thank you, structures. So this is the part of the meeting where I talk about what we do during the summer. Whether or not it will actually be done is another question. But what we're mainly looking for is that we want to complete testing of all our sub-assemblies. So stuff like sun sensors, stuff like the flat sat, items like that. We want to make sure that all the sub-assemblies are working for assembly. We want to try and see how far we can get with system integration, essentially putting everything together. And we want to square away all the documentation. So the problem with this is that I do not know what all the members are doing during the summer. I would hope that some members would be available or have a bit of time to help out, but it's really contingent on, members being available. So if you are able to help out during the summer, do let your sub leads or leads know. We will be eternally grateful for your contributions that you are able to provide. And yeah, so if you just have any questions, ask your sub leads or leads, and we'll work it out. We'll work out a schedule. How can you get the parts that you need? How can you run the code, et cetera, et cetera. So, and what's going on? I just want to give a big thank you to all the teams that have been working really hard throughout this quarter. Yes. The bottom left picture is Eric underneath a table. So it has been quite a hectic quarter from all teams. We didn't quite get to integrating everything, but that's okay because I've seen a lot of what everyone has done and I am greatly appreciative. It always sucks for me because I feel as if there's only so much I can do in supporting everyone and giving the resources necessary. But I really do hope that people have been able to have had the things they need to get the work that they need to get done. And I hope I've been able to give enough of a helping hand in that regard. So I'm very appreciative of what everyone has done. I hope that we'll be able to go into the summer with a firm mindset and solid goals for what needs to be done. But I suppose before that, I do wish everyone best of luck on their finals. We will not, starting next Monday, we will not be working on club stuff anymore. We will be transitioning to dead week. So make sure to study hard. And if you have a bit of time, you can do club work too. No one's going to stop you. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for coming to tonight's general meeting. And do note, if you ordered merch, go to Ray. He has it. And thank you so much for a great year. Let's try and finish this project strong and move on to the next mission. All right. Is we have next slide? We're done, right? Yeah, we're done. Oh, computer, please. Yeah, thanks all the folks on Zoom for coming. I suppose you all are free to go. Yeah, no, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna stop sharing. Adios, everyone. Do we want to end the Zoom meeting?
I only like it.
Yeah, we'll leave it on for a little unless everyone leaves.
Imposter!
Steven! It's definitely shot. There's no way it isn't shot.
That's good.
No shot. No shot.
He left.
No, I bet you that one.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Maybe it was Professor Robin.
If it was Professor Robinson, I sure hope it wasn't. I wasn't saying things he would have appreciated.